Yo, what's good everybody? So in this video, it's going to be a little bit of a longer video, but I'm pretty much going to show you how to journal your trades. Now this is, I believe, an account that I had made for a previous video, just showing you guys how to actually set up your Edgewonk journal. So again, this is going to be for the Edgewonk journal. Now really, you could use this methodology on how you could journal your trades really throughout any journal, but I just so happen to use Edgewonk here. So anyways, when it comes down to actually using your journal, we're going to need a few things. Obviously, TradingView, but the paid version where we can actually take screenshots. We can also use Google Docs to our advantage as well, and I'll explain that later on. But pretty much the way we're actually going to journal, right? So I want to find an actual setup here and not just kind of go off of these setups, but you know what, we can go off of this setup here. So anyways, what we could potentially do is draw out our chart like this. Press replay, and let's pretend we're actually going to be in quotations trading live. So what we're actually going to do is, let's say we're looking to take a sell. We're going to sell here, and we're going to look to take profits at this previous market structure low. Now, when it comes to actually taking this sell position, let's first of all pull out our Fibonacci retracement tool. See, that's about a 61.8. So let's actually go into the process of identifying what type of trade this is. So just on the 4-hour time frame alone, we have the red over blue SMA. We have the 50 SMA rejection. We have a medium probability bearish engulfing. We also have a 61.80 on fibs. Along with the 61.80 on fibs, we have a break and retest. Now, retest. Now we have about five confirmations, all within this same 4-hour time frame, meaning that it is a type A setup. It is a high probability setup, right? So what we're going to be doing is actually taking a screenshot of our position. Now, going back to my specific trading plan, when I have a type A setup, meaning I have 4+ confirmations, I'm going to risk 2 to 4% on this trade. So let's go back into our journal here. What I'm going to do is press add trade, right? And we're going to be taking this position. So our stop is going to go above this high, and our targets are going to be the low on the actual Fibonacci retracement tool. And I'm going to enter right here after this 4-hour engulfing. So all I'm simply going to be doing is going into the, well, this is not normally how the daily time frame actually looks. Let's just say the candlestick is just forming. What we're going to do is take a picture of the daily time frame, save chart image. Well, we want to take a more zoomed out picture. My apologies, guys. Right, so we're going to save chart image here on the daily. We're also going to zoom in on the weekly, save chart image. I'm going to mark this off here as well, right? And then we're going to go to the 4-hour time frame, which is the time frame we based our trade off of. Now, if you didn't base your trade off the 4-hour time frame, you'd also want to take a screenshot of the hour time frame as well, no matter what. So we're going to take a screenshot of this hour time frame as well. Now, what we're going to do is actually just simply enter our trade data, meaning our entry was yesterday, December, or 2 days ago at this point in time, December 13th. So I'm going to modify this to be the 13th. And this is going to be roughly 17 is, I believe that's like a few hours ago. So yeah, that's right when London, the New York session ended. So this is the 6 p.m. candlestick. So we're going to enter here 06 p.m. Sorry, that was an update. There you go. You should see the screen again. So we're going to enter there 6 p.m. I'm going to enter the instrument XAG USD. Let me put that back in here. And then the setup is going to be a type, I think I have caps on. Right, the setup is going to be a type A setup, meaning that I have 4+ confirmations on this specific setup. We're actually going to be selling. Our entry price is going to be 22.27950. 22.27950. Our stop loss is going to be, we can actually double click this stop loss. This is going to be our stop loss here. We want to enter where our stop loss is. Then our take profit is going to be here where we want to enter our original take profit here, right? And then quantity is your lot size. So let's just say we're going to do a 1 lot. Now we're pretty much done here. What we're going to do is head over to screenshots. We're going to start with the weekly, the daily, the 4 hour, and then the hour. Then we're going to save these two for later. Now all we're simply going to be doing is, let me actually split my screen here. So what I'm going to do is put, I'm trying to find it right here, right? So what I'm going to do is split this, put that back there. All I'm simply going to do now is pretty much just talk about each time frame and what each time frame actually looks like, right? So we're going to press here, we're going to go weekly, and we're just going to kind of do like a quick summary. So why I'm incorporating Google Docs into this is because what we could actually do is go into tools and voice typing, which is, it comes in super clutch, right? So I'm actually going to delete the previous one here. So all we're simply going to do again is just talk about what we see on these time frames. So we have major support right here at 22, along with down here as well, right? So anyways, let's kind of just get started here. Silver on the weekly time frame has closed under support at 22.67385 and rejected initially daily support at 22.1146. Price has also closed under the lowest close of the previous weekly low, where I have the red horizontal line. Seems like price is going to be forming, and this is where you actually got to stay on the Google Translate here. So I'm going to continue. Seems like price is going to be continuing with the bearish momentum, and price also did reject the 51 SMA on the weekly time frame. And then that's it. Right, so we already have our notes here on the weekly time frame. So just a quick skim over it, make sure everything is good. Silver on the weekly time frame has closed under support at 22.67385 and rejected initial daily support at 22.1146. Price also closed under the lowest close of the previous weekly low, where I have the red horizontal line. Seems like price horizontal line seems like price is, so I'm going to delete this one. Horizontal line seems like price is going to be continuing with the bearish momentum, and price also did reject the 51 SMA on the weekly time frame. Simple as that. What we're going to do now is do daily. So we're going to go to the daily time frame. We're going to go here. So let's undo that. So I'm going to erase this here and just kind of speak about the daily time frame and what I see here on the daily time frame. Initially, price had rejected our daily support at daily point 22, where we have a bullish variation pattern, but price came back and actually closed under a minor level of previous support, which it seems like price has actually held it as resistance on the daily time frame, where we could potentially actually look to go short because bullish momentum does not seem as strong. Then I want to see if there's anything else I could potentially add here. Moving averages are currently red over blue, and bearish momentum is very strong, and it does seem like it's holding. It doesn't seem like bearish momentum is actually slowing down. Simple. All we're going to do is just add notes there. And then this is our main time frame, right? The 4-hour time frame, right? And what you can do is make things a little bit more in depth in terms of your journal. So you could highlight stuff like this here. You know, if anything, I'll just re-edit the screenshot. What I'm going to do is go down to the H4. One thing that you also want to do is talk about the risk involved in the trade and how you're feeling about the trade itself. You know, also one thing that you could incorporate there as well is how you're feeling in terms of being in an emotional state. If you had a big fight with maybe a family member or your loved one, then you probably want to actually keep that down so you could see how you react to certain situations and how you're going to be actually trading. Because typically when you go, let's just say, into an argument, you're already a little bit emotional. Let's just say you got into a fight with somebody, you're already going to be upset or mad at that specific person. And if you're anything like me, when I'm actually pissed off at somebody, it takes me quite some time to cool down. So typically I wait until I'm as calm as I possibly can before I even hop on the market. And if I'm not calm by the time I actually start trading, that's something that I will put in my journal, right? But what we're going to do here on this 4-hour time frame is kind of just mark off our chart again. And on the 4 hour, we're simply going to actually speak about what we see, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, price had actually broken under the previous lower low at 22.04021, where price then started to actually pull back. Price had an initial rejection of the 618 on fibs, where it is a previous level of support, now holding as resistance. After rejecting 618 or previous support, price had actually pulled back, and we could see buyers try and make an attempt to trade above resistance, but sellers came into the market and buyers were met with selling pressure, where we see two big rejections to the upside, and price ended up initially closing under the 51 or the 50 SMA, along with our previous level of support, which is now holding as resistance. Momentum has definitely slowed down for the buyers, and now we have a medium probability bearish engulfing candlestick. Along with the medium probability engulfing candlestick, right, we have, let's actually check, we have bearish divergence. We have bearish divergence on the RSI and a potential double top because we have two rejections of resistance here. So we have a break and retest, and the setup looks very clean for price to go down, especially after breaking under support and forming that lower low. It also seems like this bearish momentum is holding, especially with the rejection of previous support now holding as resistance. Now all we're going to do is give it a little space, and then what we're simply going to do here we have bearish divergence. We're obviously going to edit all of this in a second, but what we're going to do is talk about the risk. So with this specific trade, we're going to be looking at a 2.5 risk to reward ratio, which is pretty decent. Normally I would risk in a trade like this around 2%, but since the probability of the actual engulfing is only a medium probability setup because price didn't close under the lowest low, I'm actually going to risk around 1.5% on this position, especially since we're trading so close to support. I don't want to actually anticipate a support break and support not actually break and get stopped out when I have a medium probability bearish engulfing, and again price is trading under support. So the risk is going to be a 1.5% risk on the overall account, which is X amount of dollars, and at that point in time you could just kind of put whatever, you know, how much you're risking on that trade, which I'm completely comfortable with losing $1,000 on this specific trade because the risk reward ratio, I'll be looking to make 2.5, almost 2.6K on this position. And that's simply it. This is how I actually like to journal my trades, and you guys can actually follow along, and all you're simply going to do is copy all of this, because instead of physically typing it all out, right, all we're simply going to do is just copy and paste it into our notes, because you're literally just talking. And for me, talking is a lot easier than typing everything out, and it takes a lot longer. And especially when we're in a super fast and quick market, it takes you a lot more time, right? So we want to make sure we have everything here. We have our screenshots. Now, what you could do in advanced data is entry comments. We're going to put here medium probability, MP, meaning that it is a medium probability engulfing, right? So let's actually put that here, and then you could do whatever you want really anywhere else. But as long as we have most of the data actually filled, then we should be good to go. Save, right? Then later on, you're gonna come back into your trade, right? Let's say this trade actually ended up hitting take profit, right? What I'm gonna do now is let's actually close the position in quotations. When you actually close a trade, what I'm gonna do is take a screenshot of the trade itself. Screenshot. Oh, let's actually open it up. So let's go to the daily time frame. Let's take a screenshot. Save chart image. In the 4-hour time frame. Then let's take another screenshot here. Then we're gonna go back into our Edge Wonk screenshots. We're gonna upload the daily result, and then we're gonna upload the 4-hour result. It's always important to look at the result of how the actual trade ended. Then all we're simply gonna do is go back into here and type result, right? And then you're just gonna speak, simply all you're gonna do is just speak about how the trade actually went, the result of the trade, and how you were able to emotionally handle the trade. So this is an example I'm gonna make here, right? So after I had made the entry on silver for a $1,000 risk, price pretty much went in my favor immediately, but it had a little rejection. Shortly after the rejection to the downside, where the candlestick didn't close very strong, a new 4-hour candlestick opened up, and for quite some time it looked like it was actually going to engulf the previous 4-hour candlestick, which it did worry me, but I knew I had to actually sit on my hands and wait for that 4-hour candlestick to close. I did start to just kind of panic a little bit because I started to overthink on myself and just kind of trying to overthink the market and waiting for that 4-hour candlestick to close. I'm glad I was disciplined enough to actually sit on my hands, because when the next 4-hour candlestick opened up, it pulled back and actually went down and hit my targets. Right? Simple, right? And then all you say here, and then you can just kind of end it off with like, I think the trade went very well. And again, it's literally a journal. It's exactly how it sounds like. It is a trading journal. Now, obviously, there's different things you could talk about. Again, really what I'm trying to do with the trade itself here, things to add now when you're talking about the journal itself, right, is how you were doing emotionally. Was it a good trade? Were you patient enough, right? How did you feel when certain candlesticks actually formed and you were waiting for those candlesticks to actually close? Just like how I said here, it's just kind of a made-up example. But when price pulled back and I was in break even, or I was in drawdown after being in profit, I started to worry a little bit because it looked like it was forming a bullish engulfing candlestick. But ultimately, I waited for the candlestick to actually close, where it closed bearish, and my emotions calmed down a little bit. Then the next candlestick went directly to take profit, where I had closed my target there. All you're simply going to do is copy this result, go to regular trade data, enter here, and paste. And then you're just going to press save. Well, obviously you have to actually enter the trade here. I completely forgot. Right, so exit date, let's say it was today. Exit price is going to be our take profit, because we closed our trade here at take profit. Right, profit and loss. If we risked $1,000, then we were looking to gain $2,590. You also want to put in your fees here. So let's just say the broker took a I don't know, $40 fee depending on the lot size you traded, and then that's simply it. So then you have all of your setups here. Your type A setups, and you're like, I wonder why I took a loss here on this type B setup. You open it up and you have all of the trade data right here at your fingertips. You want to be as detailed as possible in your journal, so you know exactly how the trade went and what went well, what went wrong with it. Sometimes it might be a little bit harder to look at here, so what you can actually do is go into your chart lab, or is it your chart lab, your notebook, chart book, here it is. Then you can actually see all of the information from the trade here as well, along with the other following trades. So pretty simple to use Edge Wonk. Hopefully this video wasn't too long for you guys, but it was definitely a video that had to have been done. Anyways, everybody, I will talk to everyone in the next video. If you ever guys have any questions, just simply let me know.